This is an example of a TX valve AC system in a motor vehicle. We're going to go ahead and start with a compressor. So we're going to have a low pressure gas. It's going to go in the compressor. Now this pulley is going to be driven by your serpentine belt or V-belt depending on your system. It's going to move this piston, which is going to compress this low pressure gas into a high pressure gas. It's going to follow a high pressure line all the way to the condenser. That high pressure gas is going to be condensed down to a high pressure liquid. The high pressure liquid travels to the receiver dryer. The receiver dryer helps take out some moisture that might still be in the refrigerant. After that, the high pressure liquid travels to the TX valve. TX is thermal expansion. So as it goes in, it changes. So this is a type of restriction. So the high pressure liquid changes into a low pressure liquid. And as it goes through the evaporator, it boils because it's taking the heat from the air and changing it into the refrigerant. So the low pressure liquid turns into a low pressure gas. That low pressure gas follows the line all the way back to the compressor. This is an example of an FOT valve air conditioning system. So what we're going to have is you're going to have a low pressure gas go into the compressor that's driven by the serpentine belt or the V-belt depending on the system. That then compresses the low pressure gas into a high pressure gas. That high pressure gas follows the high line to the condenser. This condenses that high pressure gas into a high pressure liquid. That high pressure liquid follows the line all the way up until the FOT valve. At the FOT valve, this is where the valve will either open or close due to pressure changes. So the high pressure liquid changes there to a low pressure liquid. The low pressure liquid comes out of the FOT valve and it goes into the evaporator. From there, that's where our heat exchange happens as the low pressure liquid absorbs the heat and it actually boils, turning itself into a low pressure gas. That low pressure gas travels all the way to the accumulator. Similar to a receiver dryer, the accumulator takes excess moisture out of refrigerant. And you can see these green, that would be special bags or filters that it would go through. So the low pressure gas refrigerant travels all the way back from the accumulator to the compressor.
Alright, so right now we're going to be going through a recycling process on this AC system. So first what we want to do is we're going to do a machine safety inspection. We'll make sure everything's closed, everything's working fine, we'll make sure everything's good to go. So as we see, it's fine. All of it is closed. If you come around here, these closed, nothing's getting through, it's all good to go. We can also see down here, this is our oil level that it takes out, so we can mark how much oil is left in there. So we can see that we have about 3 ounces, and we know however much it fills up when we take out the rest of the oil when we recover, that's how much we gotta add. So if we see that it's 5, we're gonna add 2 ounces because that's how much it took out. Alright, now that our machine is inspected, we're going to go ahead and hook it up. So first what we're going to do, we're going to unravel our power cord and plug it up to the wall. Alright, machine has power, turn it on, it's ready to go, it's good and set. So now what you're going to want to do, you're going to come to your engine bay. You want to find your service ports. So as we can see, there's going to be 2 service ports. Your high is going to be on a thinner line like this because it's high pressure. and the low pressure is going to be thicker. Now the connection ports are also different size. The high pressure is a lot bigger than the low pressure. Okay, so we can't mix up the connectors. It's very hard to do. So we come over to our machine. We can pull off one of our connectors. You want to work with one at a time so you don't get confused. It makes everything a lot easier. Alright, so we're pulling out a line. We can make sure that it's all backed off. It's nice and set. We're good to go. So what we're going to want to do is you want to hold the line so you don't put too much pressure on it. You're going to come over with a quick connector. And you want to go push it in. Make sure it's nice and connected. Nice and snug. Alright, now that this one's connected, we want to give it a little bit of a tug, and it's not going anywhere. It's moving with the line, which is exactly what we want. We're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave the valve open, so there's no pressure change, nothing's activating. So we're gonna go ahead and grab our other one. Now this is our low pressure side hose, so it's gonna go on the low pressure line. That's located right here. We're gonna go ahead and connect that right now. Alright, so all of our connections are nice and tight. We've tested them, they're good to go. And as we can see, we can look at our gauges on the machine. So they're still closed, they're not going to read any pressure. So what we can do is we can open them. Alright, now the lines are connected to the gauges. So we are reading on the gauges. Now before we can do that, we have to open these up. So what we're going to do is we're going to tighten these down very slowly. You're going to tighten them, and that's going to open up the connection. Tightening down is going to press down on a Schrader valve, and it's going to allow excess from the lines to the AC machine. So if we can look at our gauge as we push this down. You can see the arrow move, so we know we're connected. And you want to make sure that it's snug. It doesn't need to be super tight. And then now we're going to move on to the next one. So just tightening it down. And as you can see, the arrow moved just a little bit, indicating that there's probably leftover refrigerant in the line that has been cleared. That's fine. We just want to make sure we clear that at the end. Alright, now that this is all connected, we are connected into the system, we are ready to start. So what we're going to do first is you want to recover. So we're going to go ahead onto our machine, we're going to recover. Alright, so we've finished our recovery. We've recovered some oil, it's sitting in our drain right now. Our next step is to pull vacuum. The purpose of the vacuum, you want to get rid of that excess moisture, and you want to get rid of anything that's in the lines. You just want to get it all out because it's not good for your system. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to press vacuum. So what we're going to do is you're going to set the vacuum. You're going to set the vacuum on this system. It's a fairly small system. We're going to set the vacuum for 10 minutes, perfect amount of time. Pull enough vacuum, pull everything out of the lines, and then we'll be good to go. Alright, so now that we've cleared our vacuum, everything's good to go, we're going to go ahead and charge. Now charging, that's going to put the clean refrigerant and everything back in. You're going to pump it new, it's going to be brand new, nice and crisp. That's how you're going to get nice cold air. So we're going to go ahead, you're going to go to your machine, you're going to press charge. Now on this system, as you can see, it's going to take, of course, R134A. That's the refrigerant we've been using. Now we're also going to use 660 grams of refrigerant. That's about 24 ounces. So in this system, I think we're just going to put in about 22 ounces. So we're going to go on our machine, and we're going to go down to where we have 1 pound, 6 ounces, 22 ounces, and then we're going to go ahead and press start to begin. Alright, now that we've charged our system, what we're going to do is we're going to equalize the hoses. This will clear the lines, bring our gauges back to normal. So we're going to go ahead, go to our machine, it says equalize hoses, we're going to press start. So what we're going to do first, we're going to disconnect the high side hose. So what you want to do is you come down into your engine bay with the high side. Your high side is going to be the red. So what we're going to do is you're going to twist it to the left like you're taking it off a screw. You'll see it get kind of loose and it'll get kind of hard again. It's harder to twist. That's when you know it's closed. Next, take it off the connector. Push it off. We're gonna take this over. We're just gonna rest it on the machine for right now so it's out of the way. Alright, next, after we disconnected the high side hose, we're gonna open these valves. They're already open, they're good to go. We're gonna go ahead and start the AC max. So we have to start the engine, put the AC on max, and we'll come back here, start it, it'll clear the hoses. Alright, so now that we're in the car, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna start her up. Alright, nice and started. We're gonna go ahead and make sure the AC's on. Alright, AC is on max cold and it's on maximum blowing capacity. So now we're going to go back to our machine. We're going to check our steps. Alright, we're back to the machine. Now we're going to go ahead and follow the instructions. We've already disconnected the high side. We started the AC. Now we're going to go ahead and start to continue. Alright, so now what we're going to do, it says we're going to remove the low side hose when high side and low side pressures on here are less than 40. Alright? So we're going to go ahead and do that. Alright, so we've come to our less than 40 on both sides. As you can see, lower than 20, that's about almost done. So we're going to go ahead and come over here. We're going to disconnect this. You're going to go ahead and loosen this up. Alright, now that it's off, put this to the side. Alright, we've ended that. They're nice and clear, as you can see. Nice and empty. We're good to go. So we're going to go ahead and shut off the engine. Alright, so we've shut up the engine. We're going to go back to the machine. We're going to check on it right now. Alright, so as you can see, we're all pretty much done. We're going to go ahead and close these valves right here. Close and close. What we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and turn the machine off. We're also going to unplug the machine. Now, just like that. Now, next, you would put on the service caps, the low on the low, of course, and the high on the high. We don't have those on this vehicle, so we're gonna leave it like that, get new caps. It'll be good to go. As you can see, machine's off, it's all good, push to the side. We've gone in there, we've tested the temperature. Temperature is blowing way colder now, so we've definitely done a good job. So if you wanted to utilize the machine in service, you definitely could, besides actually charging your AC systems. For instance, if you needed to replace an AC compressor, your first thing you would do was you would attach your machine to your service ports. After you attach to your service ports, you want to go ahead and you want to recover all of the refrigerant that's in there. Once that's all recovered, you can disconnect the machine and then take out the compressor, put in the new one, or put in your serviced one if that's what you're going to do. Put it in, get everything all lined up, connected, bolted in place, and you're going to reconnect the machine, and you're going to pull a vacuum. The vacuum is going to pull any moisture that happened to get into the lines or even the compressor while you were working on it. After that, you'd go step by step right there. You would go ahead and charge your system, and you'd follow the reset procedures, and you would do everything that was shown in the previous clips.